Here's a story that deserves a hell of a lot more coverage. So this is in Raw Story. It's by Jake Johnson, who does great work, by the way. I guess was originally in Common Dreams, but they say this: a policy failure, 1.3 million U.S. adults with diabetes ration insulin due to high cost. 1.3 million U.S. adults. New research unveiled Monday estimates that around 1.3 million U.S. adults with diabetes either skipped entire insulin doses, took less than needed, or put off purchases of the medicine over the past year due to its high cost. A striking indictment of a healthcare system that allows profit-seeking pharmaceutical companies to drive up prices at will. We have allowed pharmaceutical companies to set the agenda, and that is coming at the cost of our patients. The authors of the new study, published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, analyzed data from the 2021 National Health Interview Survey, examining a sample representative of 1.4 million U.S. adults with type 1 diabetes and 5.8 million with type 2 diabetes. The results indicate that 16.5% of all adult insulin users across the U.S. rationed insulin in some way in the past year, with rationing more common among those with type 1 diabetes than type 2. Quote, universal access to insulin without cost barriers is urgently needed. Adam Gaffney, an ICU doctor at Cambridge Health Alliance. So he goes on to say this. Look, so this is astonishing. Just so you know, the cost of insulin in the U.S. is about $300 per vial. $320 and change, I think, to be exact. In Canada, it's about $30. $300 in the U.S., $30 in Canada. Now, you can compare our price to any other developed country. And the result is we pay way more. Way more. Now, this is at the same time, mind you, that every new drug created in the past decade or more has been funded by U.S. taxpayers. So we fund the research, we fund the development, we create the drugs, and then what happens is a pharmaceutical company swoops in, buys up the intellectual property, the patent rights, and then they turn around and they sell it back to us at a profit. Now hold on, we just paid for it up front. It was tax money that developed it. And now you're saying, now I'm going to sell it back to you and price gouge you in the process. What are we fucking talking about here, man? Now look, I'm not somebody who says in every single way the market is less efficient and worse off. No, there's some areas, there's some industries where the private market is more efficient than the government getting involved. This is not one of them. If the people, the public, already funds the creation of this medicine, various medicines, then why would you not get rid of the middleman? Why would you not get rid of the price gouging? The mafia that gets in between you and the medicine and just charges you more for it. You should just nationalize it. Why wouldn't you just nationalize it? And again, you can't make the argument of, oh, no, it needs to be in the private market because that's competition, and competition leads to better results. In this specific area, that is simply not true. It's all publicly funded anyway, and so why not nationalize it? And look, okay, credit to, and this is, rarely do these words come out of my mouth, but you got to keep it real. Gavin Newsom decided we're going to do publicly funded pharmaceuticals in California, and the first thing they announced was insulin. So they're going to make public insulin. It's by the way, it's kind of cheap and easy to make, and they're going to basically sell that to people, and that'll drastically, undercut the pharmaceutical companies that are price gouging left and right. And this is going to fucking save lives, man. It's going to save lives. Now, what's to stop Joe Biden? What's to stop the federal government from saying, hey, that's a good idea? Now, if you don't want to be, oh, Kyle, you're an extremist. You can't nationalize the pharmaceutical industry. That seems like a very bold move. Okay, true, but what can be done? What is actually possible to be done? Well, you could have the federal government say, we're going to do public pharmaceuticals now. And we're going to compete with the for-profit pharmaceutical companies. And you know what's going to happen? The government would kick the ass of those pharma companies. And by the way, it might actually force them to start lowering their prices. Because, if you could sell it for fucking $30 like they do in Canada, well then, who the fuck's going to get the $300 insulin? So they're going to be forced to actually compete. So this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I mean, we talk about this all the time, right? But at the same time, you have people rationing insulin. At the same time, the entire city of Jackson, Mississippi doesn't have clean drinking water and has a crisis there. We just saw an article the other day that said the U.S. is going to send some sort of urgent emergency military assistance to Haiti. What? You can't send in emergency assistance to fix the Jackson, Mississippi water right away, but you can send troops to Haiti? You sent $70 billion to Ukraine? $70 billion. How much insulin could that have bought? Just out of curiosity. And who does the U.S. government have a responsibility for first and foremost? Is it Ukrainians? Is it Haitians? Or is it Americans? This system is fucking bonkers, man. It really is. The system is totally and utterly and disgustingly broken. And that's why you still have, anywhere from 30,000 to 45,000 Americans die every year because they don't have health care. There was a study that came out about COVID, which found that 330,000 American lives could have been saved if we just had a universal health care system. Because you have people who are uninsured and people who are underinsured, and a lot of people had COVID, waited until the very last minute to finally go to the hospital, go to the emergency room, and it was too late to save them. Why? They couldn't afford a hospital visit. They didn't have insurance or they had bad insurance, and so, hey, I'm just going to ride this thing out. Well, 330,000 lives could have been saved, and it wasn't. Why? Because of our for-profit healthcare system. You want to talk about another kind of debt that should be eliminated? What about medical debt? That should absolutely be eliminated. Not just reduced, eliminated. 1.3 million Americans rationing insulin. I mean, our priorities are beyond fucked up, man. Beyond fucked up. So, they go on to explain here, Senator Bernie Sanders famously led caravans of people with diabetes into neighboring Canada to spotlight the shocking price of insulin in the U.S., which does little to regulate the pharmaceutical industry's price-setting power. Now, that's a publicity stunt I can get behind, because it's shining light on a very important issue that needs to be addressed immediately. So, under the Inflation Reduction Act, the price of insulin is regulated now, but only for Medicare recipients. So it's capped at $35. So, now by the way, why is it only for old people that they get the cheaper insulin now? Every single Republican said, we don't want lower drug prices. We actively want higher drug prices. I'm not kidding. And one Democrat said, even Joe Manchin was on the side of, let's lower the prescription drugs for everybody. Kyrsten Sinema, who took a tremendous amount of money from pharmaceutical companies, she said, no, but I will compromise with you and say, we're not going to lower drug prices for all Americans. We'll just do it for the Medicare recipients. So it was the entire Republican Party, every elected Republican, and one Democrat, Kyrsten Sinema, who screwed everybody who's, under the age of 65. 62 or 65, whichever. Anyway, there you have it. This, in a world that made sense, with a media that made sense, this would be headline news. This would lead to breaking news on the bottom of the screen, and, the journalist covering it and giving you the facts and telling you this is egregious and it needs to change. Instead, you have to go to an asshole YouTuber now to say those things. Anyway, I love you guys. Please, if you like the show, literally like it on YouTube. Click that little like button. Click that little subscribe button. Leave a nice little comment. Click that bell so you know every single time a video drops. We are trying to defeat the algorithm, and it is basically mission fucking impossible. One of the things you could do to help us defeat the algorithm is definitely sub. If you sub, maybe eventually we'll get to 1 million. We'll see. Don't know. Been climbing this mountain for a long time and making very, very, very slow progress. If progress at all sometimes, if I'm keeping it real. Sometimes you see a random drop in subs. But it is what it is. If you guys can help a brother out, I really appreciate it. Also, thank you to everybody on Patreon who supports this show. You guys keep it going. Thank you to everybody who supports Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. If you ever want to support the show, you got the links in the video description box. Remember, never had a conversation with an advertiser my entire time doing the show. Very proud of that fact. Small dollar donors is the way to go. So, and you could always listen to the full shows on various podcasting apps I listen on Spotify all the time, so check the show out on Spotify if you want to hear the whole thing. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for you. Oh, and I'll throw this in here as well. Massive shout out to Peter for doing all the hard work that he does for this show. Peter, you're the man. And massive shout out to Lilith, who, ride or die since day one, and she helps out the show tremendously in a million different ways, and just wanted to show some love to them as well. So anyway, guys, and again, happy birthday to my sister. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.